Hello. This is week 2 for CYB 610 penetration testing and risk management. We are in our lab 2 for open source intelligence. The Fortune 500 company I chose was Nike.com, and we will begin. I put mine into a PowerPoint presentation, so you will see that as we go. We're on slide 2. In this portion of the lecture, clarify that everything is conducted fails inside cyber operation stage of passive recognition. Not using entrusted scans and taking advantage of the system. I'm solely utilizing public data and tools before we conduct any active penetration tests. Maltego enables me to visually navigate those public data sources so my team can access them, access the attack surface. Slide 3. The Maltego setup, an internal domain entity. Here, launch Maltego, made a fresh inquiry graph, and manually set Nike.com as the domain as my initial entity. I certify that is official public domain Nike, which serves as the foundation for all my subsequent transformations. This is compatible to all client providing us with their primary corporate domain and is the beginning point for recognizance from a pen test standpoint. Slide 4. Here you can see the graph that I have set up for Nike.com attack surface. Have it set up here. I go from top to bottom in the slide. My root node is Nike.com as a domain is at the very top. I use a node to perform several Maltego transformations. Email addresses found in the public WHOIS data, such as internet domain, administrative address, a bus complaints mailbox, and represented by teal @ icons. MAC records, the point to the host. Email infrastructures are represented by the green mail service icon. In the instance, photo.com denoted a third-party email security provider. DNS resolution is handled by Nike. Alternative name server NS1 through ns4.nike.com indicates the red NS symbol. Lastly, the contact phone number is represented by the green phone icon at the bottom, also delivered from WHOIS record. When combined, these provide us with a brief visual description of Nike's external attack surface. Slide number 5. WHOIS and registration data. And the WHOIS data is basically a domain name, registration record, contain phone numbers that might be utilized in phishing or SMM-based social engineering, as well as email address and the attackers who attempt to phish. By using WHOIS transformation in Maltego, additionally, I see that there are brands protected registrations, which implies that Nike makes domain protections investments and for a penetration test. This is crucial background since it indicates who might react if we mimic abuse or unusual traffic. So basically, it's going to trigger the point in regards to us mimicking traffic to them. Slide 6. DNS mail infrastructure, MX and NS records. Emphasize the MX records reveal the exact location of the intent where Nike's email is handled. The usage of cloud email providers is suggested by pposted.com, which modifies the way an attacker would create and distribute phishing payloads. DNS is dispersed among various named servers for fault tolerance, as demonstrated by the numerous NS entities. This is good resilience for a defense perspective. But from an offensive testing perspective, it provides us with specific hosts and services to investigate later in Action Recon. Slide 7. High value human traffic, and the CFO, Chief Financial Officer, Matthew Friend, describes the CFO familiar target in the slide. Large financial transactions are within the CFO's controls, and they frequently communicate with banks, auditors, and important vendors. This calendars and prioritizes are frequently made public through sources such as interviews and earning calls. In penetration sessions, we responsibly recreate how an attack may utilize the data to create a simulated but realistic spear phishing attempt, always with signed content. Slide 8. Simulated spear phishing email, which this was, we did not send it, so I just want to make that clear. We did not send it. The simulated spear phishing email is not sent to an actual recipient and gives brief samples. It is only utilized in a approved regulatory penetration test procedure. Passive onset collections were used to identify realistic businesses, circumstances, such as vendor validation, procedures, and quarterly end financial reconciliation, on which the pertext is based. Instead of sending to participants to any dangers or unauthorized resources, the hyperlink in the real agreement would take them to a safe, instructed phishing assessment platform intended to gauge users' awareness. And we're going to skip here to slide 14, which shows an active recon screenshot in Maltego. This screenshot depicts the outcome of many active recon transformations in Maltego. Starting with Nike's DNS domain, it grew to include associated IP addresses, reverse DNS records, shared infrastructure, and cloud host networks. Many of Nike's DNS servers are maintained using Amazon AWS Route 53, as seen by reverse DNS results lending to AWS DNS host names. The graphic depicts Nike's public digital footprint, including the resilience on third-party hosting servers. The connections are significant because attackers frequently use them to seek for misconfiguration, obsolete cloud services, or vulnerable third-party endpoints. And there's many more slides that I have to talk about here within this lab. And in conclusion, I want to just say, with this whole process, just kind of looking it through, once an attacker has completed this type of recon, they can use the information in a variety of ways. First, they can create high tolerated phishing or spear phishing messages based on domains, emails, host informations found. Attackers can scan cloud host IP addresses from vulnerable services and obsoleted setups. They may also look for shadow infrastructures, which are systems that a company failed to secure but are still publicly accessible. Reverse DNS information can reveal naming, conversation, or system roles, allowing attackers to determine internal architects. Overall, this stage of cyber operations life cycles enables the attacker to progress from gathering information to developing focused approaches that set up exploitation attempts. In a legitimate pen test, this knowledge helps defenders tighten their perimeter and remove. And that will be the end of my presentation. As you go through and look at the lab, I put it all in a PowerPoint just to kind of break it all down. But yes, this gave a lot of insight in regards to how information can be easily obtained, which is scary in a sense, because without the cybersecurity team to kind of see and recognize when things are being manipulated to kind of simulate reality in the sense of a email or a link, something of that nature, that can set a company up and to be exposed on the back end. So with that, I want to thank you for your time and hope you enjoyed the presentation. We'll also be attaching the email that I just put it together in regards to what it could simulate to look like. No link, and it is just for our class purposes. Thank you.